अन्ये च बहवः शूरा मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः. Hello friends. Friends, this is the ninth shlok of the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and in today's video we are going to be understanding this shlok in detail. So the shlok starts as Anye cha Bahava Shura, which means and many other warriors Madarthe Tyakta Jivita, which means will give their lives for my sake. Then it's Nana Shastra Praharna, which means uh, in different types of weapons they are pretty good at using it. And Sarve Yuddha Visharda, which means they are all very good at fighting. So the complete meaning of this shlok is there are many other warriors who are ready to give their life for my sake. They are proficient in using different kinds of weapon and are very good at fighting in a war. So if you are watching my previous videos on Bhagavad Gita, then you know that in this portion Duryodhan is talking to Guru Dronacharya and he is giving details about the armies of both Pandavas and Kauravas. And so he has given the name of the warriors in Pandav army, and now he was giving the warrior name of the warriors in his army, and he has pretty much given the name of every warrior. And over here he is concluding his remark, and he is saying that my army has extraordinary warriors, and he gives the name of all the different warriors, and then he concludes by saying that there are many other warriors who are ready to give life for my sake, and they are all very proficient in using weapons and fighting in a war. So that's the whole meaning of this shlok. Now the important message that we get from this shlok is the word madarthe that he's using over here, which is for my sake. So what Duryodhana over is saying is that there are many warriors who are ready to give life for my sake. So you can clearly see over here that uh, Duryodhana is actually putting himself above the Kuru kingdom as such. He's thinking that the warriors who have assembled over here for his army are going to be fighting for his sake, not for the Kuru kingdom's sake. And so this is something which makes it clear to us that Duryodhan is not the right person to take the throne of Kuru kingdom, because he puts himself above the Kuru kingdom. So if you are familiar with Mahabharata, then you know that if you look at the rules by which the kings used to succeed, then Duryodhan has a pretty good case for him, because he is the eldest son of Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra also was elder to Pandav. So Dhritarashtra as such had a bigger case, because in Vedic period the rule that was used in terms of succession to the kingdom was that the eldest son used to take up the throne, and so Dhritarashtra was the eldest son, and so Dhritarashtra should have taken the throne, but he did not take the throne because he was blind, and therefore the kingdom went to Pandu. So in that way, you can say that that rule was not really followed, and an exception was taken because Pandu was more suitable to take up the kingship, because he was not blind while Dhritarashtra was blind, and so the rule that the eldest son should take up the throne was not taken into consideration in that situation. But then, yeah, of course, Pandu had to leave because of complications in his life, and so Dhritarashtra then overtook, and then he took up the throne. Now, since Dhritarashtra is the king, then of course his eldest son should take up the kingdom, and so Duryodhan is the eldest son, and so he should take up the kingdom. But he again is not suitable, as you can clearly see over here, because he is not really following the dharma. He is actually putting himself above the Kuru kingdom, and therefore he is not very suitable. While if you look at Yudhishthir, then you know that prior to this war, they actually tried to diplomatically solve this problem, and Krishna actually went to the Kuru kingdom, and he said that we do not want a fight, and if Duryodhan wants to take up the kingdom, then Duryodhan can take up the kingdom. Just give us 5 villages so that we can we can fulfill our duties as Kshatriya. And Duryodhana even says that he is not going to give those five kingdoms, five villages, to them. So that's why Yudhishthir then decided to, fight, because he was not able to fulfill his dharma as a Kshatriya. That's why he's fighting. He's not fighting because of his sake. He's not fighting because of his own personal benefit or his own ambition to become a king. He's fighting because he wants to fulfill his dharma, and Duryodhan is in his way in terms of fulfilling his dharma. So that's why they are fighting. So you can see the difference between why the Pandavas are fighting and why the Kauravas are fighting, why Duryodhan actually is fighting. So you can clearly see from that that Duryodhan is not fit to be a king, because he puts himself above the Kuru kingdom. He's not fighting because Kuru kingdom is under threat. He is fighting for his sake, and that's why he says there are many warriors who are going to give their life for my sake. So these are the subtle things that you should understand while reading Bhagavad Gita. So I hope I have clarified this shlok to you. With that, I'll close this video. I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, take care.